Hey guys, we're going to go over the ins and outs of the XH20D KYMRON excavator. We're going to show you all the startup procedure as well as any maintenance you might need to do over time. To start, let's cover this hydraulic oil tank. Now, you do want to fill this to about the midway point. I know it's got a temperature meter at the top, and the oil will expand as it gets hot. But you want to make sure you fill it to the midway point, that way you have enough room for return. Anytime you move the boom one direction, the oil has to come out of the cylinder from the other direction. Now, if you're low on oil, this one's a little overfilled, you take off this little side panel, and you'll notice your hydraulic oil fill is actually this hose with a cap on the end. If your hydraulic oil is good to go and you've topped everything off, we're going to move on to the engine oil. You'll notice you have a dipstick down here underneath the engine. General rule of thumb, you always want to pull the dipstick out, wipe it off, and then put it back in to get a clean leveled reading, just in case oil was bouncing around when the engine was running. So now that we've wiped off the dipstick, we'll push it all the way in, check it again, and it looks like our oil is right about there. This is your max fill line, that's your minimum line. So we're right about the middle, that looks good. Oil's a nice lighter color, so we don't need to do any oil change. Now, if you did need to top off your oil or refill it, you could always tilt your seat forward and you'll see the oil fill cap on the top. It's that bright orangish yellow cap down there. Now, when it comes to the digital display on this model, it doesn't provide much information. You have a battery meter over here on the left, and on the right it'll show your RPM when the machine is running. Now, the battery always looks low. If you just have it on auxiliary like this, it's a warning trying to tell you it's going to drain your battery, your engine's not running. That's what that emblem means. Once you start up the engine, first turn it over, warm your glow plugs. You'll notice the battery evens out at the middle. That means your alternator is keeping it at levelly charged like it should. That's your overall machine's RPM right there for the engine. And that's your hour meter. That tells you how many hours we've run in total. 2 hours for this model. It is a demo. We've done a few videos with it. Now you have your diesel fuel tank over here on the side. So your fuel level is going to be shown on it. Disregard the temperature part. I don't know why they did that. Basically, it looks like we're pretty low on fuel right now. Probably about a quarter tank. If you need to refill that, you can undo this. This will be hidden under the floor mat, but you don't have to take off any bolts to refill your fuel. Only to do any engine checks and maintenance internally. All right, we're going to walk back around to the other side. Now, when it comes to adjusting your track tension, you have to start by taking the panel off the outside. And you'll notice this track tensioner bolt on this model. Some have grease insert track tensioners. This one is a bolt style tensioner. So first, you loosen this retaining nut, and then you tighten this righty-tighty. And as that bolt goes in, it's going to push more pressure on this roller and stiffen up your tracks. Looks like our track tension is pretty good on this model. So once you got your track tension set right with the big one, you come back in and tighten your retaining nut just so it keeps that tension. Otherwise, you're going to lose that tension as it vibrates with motion. Now you'll notice the machine has a bunch of grease inserts as well. Just about everywhere you got a bolt or a moving joint, there's a grease insert. One of two different styles, the nipple style or the inverted style. And this one you have to use a little sharp point. The toolbox we give you will have grease guns in there with grease inserts. Now make sure you grease your booms and your moving joints. The last thing we're going to cover is this hydraulic diverter box. This allows you to install an attachment such as an auger or a jackhammer and use it without taking off the thumb. You can hook your hoses from your auger or your jackhammer to the bottom, flip this lever to divert the oil to that attachment instead of the thumb, and you can leave this installed. Since this is still hooked up, it'll keep the pressure in the lines and the thumb won't fall on you or get in your way while you're using the other attachments. Whenever you're done, remove the attachment, flip your lever back up to restore the fluid to your thumb, and you're good to go. So thanks for watching. I hope this was very informational, and you have a nice day.